Thanksgiving week just got a whole lot more interesting. Hi, everybody. I'm Chief Meteorologist Chris Justice. Watching the fronts that are about to change everything here, from storms to a major blast of cold air. We've got a lot to track here, including a little bit of snow if you're traveling for Thanksgiving week. If you're new to this channel, please let me know where you're watching from right now, and do subscribe to this channel, like this video as well. This is the place to be for all kind of weather coverage. We go in depth every day and provide some context to the weather pattern and what you'll see for your neck of the woods, and do a little deeper dive as to what's going on. In this case, we got some Thanksgiving impacts coming our way. A few showers tonight. We'll have some few showers again on Friday night, but the next big front that's really going to impact the United States will come in as we go into next week. You can see Sunday it's taking shape up toward the upper Midwest, Great Plains, and it starts to dive to the south. Now, as this does, it's going to bring in some colder air. The jet stream is going to start to buckle down, and we start to get some rain to crop up on Monday. And here we are Tuesday. This front's on the move. There could be some storms here. Enough energy in the atmosphere dipping down on Tuesday that we could have some storms over parts of Mississippi and Alabama. Some of them could be on the strong side. We'll have to watch that threat closely. And then going into Tuesday night, Wednesday, that first front comes through with the rain and the possibility of some storms. Notice it gets up into North Georgia, western parts of the upstate of South Carolina. And then that secondary front, this one is the one that brings in the cold air behind it. And by Thanksgiving, it is pushed off the East Coast, and that colder air is surging in with a reinforcing shot of that colder air coming in as we go into Friday, Saturday's time frame. Notice the snow on this National Weather Service map up toward the northeastern part of Ohio, into Pennsylvania, into parts of New York. So we'll have to watch that threat closely. And of course, some of the models here have gone back and forth on who gets snow, who does not get snow. So let's unpack it here for you. The GFS model. It unpacks a little bit of rain for us tonight, and can't rule out some showers into Friday night. But it's Saturday that most of the day's looking fine. Other than a few showers across the eastern parts of North Carolina, South Carolina into Georgia, we're looking okay. And then going deeper into our Monday night, Tuesday. Tuesday looks to feature some spotty showers in and around the area on Tuesday morning. And then Tuesday afternoon and evening, this front's pushing through. And as it does, it's going to bring in some rain and possibly a few storms in some areas. Now, behind that, that's when the big cold air comes in. That's going to be progressively getting colder and more windy as we go into Thanksgiving Day. Got a little bit of snow here for New York, Pennsylvania, parts of northern Ohio into Michigan. Could see some of that. And it pushes off toward the east more quickly thereafter. And then by the time we get to Friday, Saturday's time frame, there's still some flurries happening up toward the north, and we're starting to level out temperature-wise. And then going deeper in the forecast, now we're in the first few days of December. We've got some dry conditions across a good bit of the East Coast, but nonetheless, we got some extra fronts as we're trying to get a bit more active here as we look to level off temperature-wise. So what's happening here is we get these brief but intense cold blasts that will come on through. Let's look at the European snow totals and where the locations are. It has certainly trended toward the north here in recent runs. You still got some snow flying around in Indiana into Ohio, but the greater totals are going to be up toward the north here into Michigan, parts of Wisconsin, into New York and Pennsylvania, where we could get some measurable snow. Now, the GFS has been the one that's been the most egregious. It's showing big totals coming back down, and as we move forward here, we're going to be able to see what the GFS is showing now that we're kind of getting into its wheelhouse of actually being somewhat accurate. Europeans by far been dominant at getting things right here lately. So let's look at the upper air pattern here. We got this big dip of the jet stream coming in on Thanksgiving, and what it does is send in some reinforcing shots of cold air through Friday. Friday looks to be the most brutal of the cold blast coming in, and it doesn't look terrible for Georgia, South Carolina, or Alabama, but from North Carolina north, we're talking highs in the 30s for Thursday into Friday in some locations, and lows rather dipping way down. This pushes off toward the east, and we get some cold air to start to pull away Saturday and Sunday, and this big ridge pulls back in, and it looks like we're back to being warm again once we get past this time frame. So temperature-wise, I do think we start to rebound going into probably past the first few days of December, probably the 3rd, 4th, 5th, we're back to where we should be, if not a little bit above it. So what does the GFS show as far as snow is concerned? Well, it's got some rain Saturday. Sunday, we're awaiting the next front, as well as Monday, kind of in the interim. But Tuesday into Wednesday, this front's coming through, but it loses some of its steam here. Here comes the upper part of the jet stream pushing on through. What it does is send in some heavier rain into Wednesday night into Thursday morning. This has more rain lingering into Thursday, whereas the European and earlier runs runs of the GFS actually had it clear. The 12Z GFS has quite a bit more snow here for Ohio into western Pennsylvania, and then it pushes it up toward the north. Let's look at the 18Z run. It shows a more progressive tight front finally pushing out, and then some snow pushing in for Pennsylvania, New York, and then we level out with high pressure. Another little system comes in toward the 2nd of December, but it looks to be mainly a rainmaker out of that one. Let's look closer at the different runs of the GFS as far as snow totals are concerned. It's got it confined up toward the north on the midday run. Similar look as the European here with Pennsylvania, upstate New York into New Hampshire and Vermont, up through Maine. Quite a bit of snow showing up on this GFS model. Let's flip it over to the 12Z, a little bit farther south with little blips here and there into northern parts of Tennessee and to Kentucky. A little bit falling here, a little bit falling there. Doesn't look to be significant, but enough to where we could have some accumulation for them. And that could move into western Pennsylvania, into upstate New York, and something we'll be watching closely for you folks. Let me know where you're watching from right now. Are you tuning in up toward that way? All right, as far as storms are concerned, we're watching Florida for you as well. Could there be some storms in Alabama, Mississippi? Well, watching Friday, a little bit of storm activity, but I think it's Tuesday, if we're going to get it, that the models show here toward Mississippi, Alabama, really Birmingham, southbound, could run into some thunderstorm activity. That could be quite strong. In fact, we'll be watching that closely as there is just enough instability or fuel in the atmosphere for parts of Alabama, Georgia to get in on some of that action to where we could get some storm activity. That pushes into Florida toward the end of this model, which would be during the time frame of Tuesday night into Wednesday, and there could be enough for some lightning and some thunderstorms sometime Tuesday into Wednesday. But right now, the storm threat looks to be the highest toward Alabama and Mississippi during that time frame. How about rain? Because we need rain in some form or fashion. I just don't see a lot of it for Florida. You know, we could use a good soaking rain in many locations. It's been so dry. Even the 12Z run, mapping that out beyond Wednesday. Florida just gets missed here. We get some rain here toward the Atlantic side as we go toward the 30th, into December 1st. But as far as the Panhandle over toward Tampa, Sarasota, we're talking very minimal, if any, rainfall because we're so dry. In fact, looking at the southeast as a whole, we're hoping to get a little bit of rain. We could use a little bit. Upstate parts of South Carolina, 1/2 inch to 1 inch, whereas western North Carolina, about 1 inch as well in this European model run. Let's flip it over to the GFS just for comparison. You got 2 to 3 inches in some of those models in western parts of Carolinas, which, again, we could use every drop of it. But simply put, it looks like we are staying near normal temperature-wise in that 28th through 4th time frame. So it gets you beyond the 4-day, beyond the 7-day, and gets you toward the 8 to 14-day outlook. Looks like above normal temperatures locked in here for Florida. What's new, right? With near normal across the Carolinas and below normal temperatures here for the north. And that is a harbinger of what I think we're going to see for the first part of our winter. And that brings me to our winter forecast, folks. Putting the final touches on it. Just broadcasted on TV. Now I got to make it for internet purposes. Why you might ask? Well, what's happening here is we're shifting out of La Nina into La Nada, a neutral phase. And that does have major implications for our winter moving forward. And I'm putting the finishes touches on. My plan is to show you that tomorrow on Friday. All right, so we'll talk more about that as we get closer to it. But I did want to put that on your radar as far as we are going to talk more about the winter outlook as a whole and kind of look specifically at that and what maybe your town could be seeing as we move forward a little bit into this. But dude, do know that I care a lot about what I do here, and I am so grateful that you're part of this channel and here to be here for it. So any kind of questions you may have, let me know it in the comment section. I like to end every video with your comments, your concerns, your questions here, and give you some shout outs as to where you're watching from right now. We got many of you watching here from Shelbyville, Kentucky. Hello to you, Bobby. Oakfield, Maine in the house. Love your updates. I only watch you. Thank you. We got Pickens, South Carolina in the house. Good morning, Chris. Having coffee with your forecast, listening in Marietta, Pennsylvania. I do appreciate it, Sandra. Let's see, James. Good morning, Chris. Texting in from Asheville, North Carolina. Hi, thank you so much for watching. Connie's watching from Anderson, South Carolina. Nicole's watching from between Richmond and D.C. Love the cold over here in our home. That time of the year, right? Indianapolis, Indiana's in the house. Greetings, checking in from Stratford, Connecticut. We got some flurries last night. Hey, Lewis. Good to see you again. Will Baytown, Texas see snow this year? Thank you again. I'm hoping so. Thank you so much for giving us an accurate forecast. Appreciate that. Hey, Will, thank you so much. Will, Baytown. Michelle, hi to you. I do think you'll see some snow. I don't think you have a chance in the near term. So what I'm thinking here is our active pattern is going to start to kickstart as we get into December in the Midwest. I think the Midwest up through the Northeast will have a chance being a little bit more active in December. And then January, I think we flip a switch. And I think a lot of areas that haven't seen it, the Mid-Atlantic South, could have our first good chances for some snow going into that area. Watching from upstate New York, halfway between Lake Erie and Ontario, so we get hit from both lakes. How I miss the GSP area of South Carolina. I worked at GSP Airport for 2 years. Well, we miss you too. I hope you enjoy it up there. What a beautiful part of the world you're living in, though, by the way. Mark here, watching from Jonesboro, Arkansas. Rose, good morning from Sarasota. Although we've gotten a few chilly nights here, we haven't gotten rain here. Do we stay warm and miss all the rain? Keep bringing in your great forecast. I missed you. God bless and stay warm. Hey, Rose, thank you so much for always tuning in. Yeah, the pattern for Florida, especially for you in Sarasota and Tampa, looks to be very little to no rain, whereas the Atlantic could get a little bit more activity than you in the 30th through 2nd time frame. But right now, I just don't see it getting a whole lot. James watching from Spokane, Washington. Wheeling, West Virginia in the house. Carbondale, Pennsylvania in the house. Good morning, Chris from Virginia. Are we going to see any snow this winter? I think your better chances are going to be January. Can't rule it out for December, but I think going into January we flip a switch and things get a lot more active for the Mid-Atlantic region into North Carolina as well. Will Burke County, North Carolina get snow in this upcoming storm? I don't think so. Not out of this one. Nothing's really showing me that. There were a couple of model runs that showed the mountains would, but nothing really recently. Cordell checking in like normal. As always, your forecasts are helpful and interesting, but man, I'm really not looking forward to the substantial drop in temperatures around Thanksgiving. Yikes. In regards to the previous comments, sure, context is important, but keep in mind that you are human. Sure, you take responsibility for your actions, and that is certainly important, but I don't think you should be too hard on yourself for a simple error. As always, I enjoy the content. Stay positive, man. Hey, thank you so much. That means a lot. Yeah, what you're referring to, there's been a lot of talk online, and what I like to do is I like to pick up the phone when I see somebody that, a lot of people that I respect in this industry, had an issue with, a post I made about GFS snow totals, and I totally own up to it. I normally provide much more context or don't show that altogether. I was in a stream of conscious posting and just kind of slamming some things out and put that out there. And if I had it to do again, I would have put a lot more context on there, at least thrown in a couple of sentences about, hey, this is one model, run of one model. People like to see it. I could have said, hey, snow lovers, you'll want to see this. Likely, not likely to happen. I normally provide that. Folks are really, really pounding me in the ground a little bit. And again, I get it. I'm not making an excuse. I should have done that. And it does undermine the credibility of what we do if you're not couching up some of these models with some responsibility. So I totally understand that. But we're all human, and it's not the way I operate 99.9% of the time. So I get you. And those of you that have seen those posts from other meteorologists, there's a chance I probably called them. Those that I have their number, I picked up the phone and called them and had some great conversations with a lot of them. So anyway, hope you guys are having a great day. And thanks for being on this little part of the internet here where you found us. And stay tuned. We'll keep you posted Thanksgiving week, bringing in lots of changes here as we map them out for you day by day.